you, Ms. Meher, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you, Impact Events, for having me over here. And special thanks to the wonderful lady whose eyes gleams with success. And whoever she comes in contact with, she charges with all those electrons and neutrons. She gives a charge of success to them. So thank you everybody for having me over here, and a very good evening to distinguished guests, authors, and our artists. And when I entered in the morning, I could find that vibe of creativity and talent all across the room. And it is absolutely great to be here amongst you all, sharing my own story. So before I begin, let me ask you, how many moms, how many parents over here in this room? How many parents do we have? That's a good number. That's a good number. So may I ask you to clap for yourselves, please? Thank you so much. Now, my name is Shabeena Zaidi, and I am the author of this book, which is Revelations of a Millennial Mom. Although this book appears to be pink, but it speaks about the grey side of motherhood. Now, if I ask you, why did I ask you to clap for yourself? How do you define motherhood in one word? If I ask you just to say a word for motherhood, how would you say?
Love.
Yes. Love. Well, we have a wonderful child with us. Yes. Love. Any more? Self-discipline. Absolutely. One more word?
Selfless. Selfless.
Selfless.
I'm not a mom, but it's selfless for sure from what I've seen.
Absolutely true. So, when we speak about, yes, we have one more hand.
Disaster.
Disaster. I think that's true. I think that's true. So yes, whenever we speak about motherhood, we speak about the positive side of motherhood. We neglect the grey side of motherhood, and it has that too. Because when you are a mom, you don't realize that what all it is going to entail. Why? Because we are not shown the absolute side of motherhood. We are not shown the true side of motherhood because of the fact that the media has been portraying motherhood as something very glitzy. We've been shown, perfect pictures, perfect postures of moms after postpartum, their postpartum bodies. So we are given this glitzy picture about motherhood, and that is the reason we are not speaking about the true side of motherhood. And something which inspired me to write this story, to write this memoir of motherhood, was because when I embarked on this journey, I realized that we are told half-baked truth. We are not told what it is to be mother. There are so many instances where people hide from you what a journey of a motherhood is going to be like. So there was an incident in when my elder daughter was born, and she was just a month old. So I'm going to read a few lines from my book. So when she was just a month old, and she was my first child. So it says that, as sleep is a forgotten bliss for new mothers, once I was awake with Riza, my daughter. The clock showed the time, 4 a.m. in the morning, and I held her in my arms as she finished feeding and burped her well enough. Suddenly, her lips curved into a peculiar U-shaped curve. Somebody else would have found it cute, but as I saw her face, I was completely transfixed by this state of affairs. I had a little shiver. Everyone in the family was asleep. I carefully laid her on the bed and stood away from her, on the floor, making sure not to face her at all. I stood there numb, closed my eyes tight in an avalanche of terror. Memories of all the horror movies casting little kids and creepy dolls hovered over me, and that added to my existing trepidation. I wondered, why do they cast kids in horror movies? Within a moment's time, this melodious sounds of cooing and sighing of my little one tempted me to go back to her. Now, when I narrated this story to a relative of mine, so she told me, "What kind of a mom you are?" Does this ever happen that a mom is scared of her own child?
Yes.
And yes, it does. And I thought that people are going to pigeonhole you. People are going to put you in a box. This story has to be told. Because if we don't tell the stories, what are we going to portray to the generations who are coming next? I didn't know about the hardships of motherhood, and if I don't tell this story, the generations who are coming next, they won't come to know. There have been times when, if I would discuss my problems with people, they would shun this thought by saying, there is paradise under the feet of a mother. Now, what does that mean? Now, when I'm discussing my problems, when a new mother is discussing her problems with somebody, she does not need any advice. She just needs a listening ear. Have you ever noticed then that when a CEO says that her journey as a CEO had been tough, people are going to applaud her? People are going to laud her? When an athlete says that his regimen, his workout had been really tough, he has really worked out to achieve this, people are going to praise him, praise her. But the moment a mother says that her journey in raising a child had been really tough, oh my God, you're a mom, how can you say so? You are laden with all those supernatural powers. The moment you become a mom, it is considered as if you are a technical gadget and you have downloaded all the information related to care for the baby. We always speak about adolescence. We speak about how a young person, how a young child is transformed into an adult. We have so many research, we have so many work done on adolescence. Now, when it comes to the metamorphosing of a girl, a completely naive maiden, into the role of a mother, we don't have much research about it. That term is called matresecence. We still don't have much research about matresecence. Now, as a mother, you must have experienced paradoxical situations. You must have experienced ambivalence. What is an ambivalence? I would state an incident. Ambivalence is a mixture of opposite feelings at the same time. That happens in a mom. You have love and you have hatred for your child, both existing at the same time. One day, I went into my daughter's room only to find that the new lipstick which I had bought for me, she trespassed into that makeup kit. The lipstick was smudged all over her face, and not only that, also on her dress, some on the sofa, and on the walls. I was in shock. More than that, I was filled with rage. And I stood there. Should I yell at my 3-year-old? Is she going to understand? I was absolutely filled with anger. But the next moment, she tells me, "Mama, do you know who did it?" Okay, I was inquisitive. Who did it? That Spider-Man came from the window and he did it. That is ambivalence. I was filled with love. I was filled with anger at the same time. So these are the stories of motherhood. These are the aspects of motherhood that people don't often talk about. As a mother, your role is sometimes undervalued. You're not given that kind of a value, because as a mother, your role, your work is non-remunerated, and that is why people don't give a value. But this book is actually a call to all the moms to find their true self, work towards their goal, rise up again, because in motherhood you gain a baby, but you lose yourself. There is an identity loss. And that identity loss is something very, very hard to deal with. So this is a call to all the moms to rise up again, work in the direction of their goals, and that work could be stupendously imperfect, but be consistent and prove yourself, because if you are consistent, if you're working towards your goals, you can obviously turn the tables. So there's a little poem which I've written for all the moms to identify themselves and their goals. Dear amazing moms, let me tell you that you're not just a mom, a partner, or a woman. You are your flock of thoughts. You are your myriad of feelings. You are the haven of life, an abode of dreams. You're not just a mom, a playmate, or a cook. You are the tree that nurtures and stands tall with roots. You're not just a mom, a nurse, or a support. You are a flower that blooms and spreads the fragrance all across. So a big shout out to all the moms, to all the parents who are doing a wonderful and an amazing job to bring up their child, because I feel that moms as a whole, they have tremendous amount of energy and courage, because if you can push out a baby from your body and you can keep that baby for 9 months, that is the toughest job. Raising a kid is the toughest job, and if you can do that, you can do entirely anything in this world. So big shout out to all the parents, to all the moms. Thank you so much.